Hello, evening guys. Hope everyone's well. Cheers to the weekend, everyone. Right. Where did we get to? So I think we made quite a good start last night. Got the arms on, got a lot of graphite pieces on actually. We've got the gearbox in place, rear arms, front arms, bulkhead. I think we made a really strong start. The only thing that I have done since we were live last night was, for those that tuned in, rear arms are a little bit tight. You can see now, absolutely not. Just put a 3.5 boot through them and they are super free, as they should be. So yeah, no issues there anymore. So tidied that up while I was on my lunch today. So what should we start with? Anybody got any preference what they'd like to see me build to start with? Should we do the diff? Should we do the front C hubs? What do you reckon? Anyone got any preference? In that case, I will choose the diff, I think. We'll get the gear diff out of the way. So, brand new gear diff. Okay, so one of the first things that I like to do with any brand new gear diff is to clean up all of the metal parts. So what you will sometimes get is you'll get residue from the machining process. So oils, any machining oils, stuff like that. So we just want to make sure that we've got a diff that we make up that's not full of contaminants, really. And I'll do the same. I'll put the cross pins in, put the washers in for what it's worth. While we're at it, obviously we won't be putting any gear casings in or O-rings. Only metal parts. So let's get going. These are really useful if you haven't got one. Doesn't have to be hoodie, but sort of like the bearing cleaners. Super useful for chucking in all the parts, and then just getting some brake cleaner in there to make sure we've got rid of anything that we don't want inside the diff. Should put those straight in, really, shouldn't I? I'm thinking. Okay, let's get the brake cleaner. A bit in there. And we will do a bit of a shake. make a bit of space. I'll just move the car out of the way. And let's have a nice microfiber to clean off, dry off the parts that have been in. Hard to see, probably can't see very well, but there is a little bit in there from the machining, so definitely worthwhile doing. We will put that to one side, might need it later. Just going to give them all a little bit of a wipe down, get off any excess of the brake cleaner. Should be gone anywhere. And then what we are going to get hold of some grease. So this is one of the greases I personally really like to use on gear diffs. It started off from using the O-ring grease a few years ago now. I tried the Axon O-ring grease when I was at EOS. Shane had some. We tried a little bit out, and the grease, it's this one actually. Again. But yeah, tried that one out. Fantastic grease, really, really good. And I came across this gear diff grease. We decided to give it a bit of a try. So it's thicker than the O-ring grease, the specific O-ring grease for the shocks, but it still gives a really smooth action. So I found it to be really, really good for the diffs. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting some grease on the gear diff O-rings. And what we're going to do, I'm going to place one directly in the top there, so nothing fancy about that. And then take an out drive, and we're going to grease the shaft. So that's one of the keys that you're going to have. It's the part that's moving the most. If you grease that with some really nice high quality grease, you will keep a really nice smooth action on your gear diff. Obviously, you're still going to have to maintain it. You're going to have to do your oils, etc. But it'll keep a smooth action, or the smoothest action I think you can have. And then just going to insert it in. You'll see maybe a tiny little bit of grease will splodge out, which is absolutely fine. So just wipe that excess off. And then we are going to take the big washer, a little bit of grease just around the inside of it. And all you're looking to do here is you're just looking to help a little bit of a seal there onto the O-ring. Push that down. Push it down, and it should seat nicely, which it has. Just get some pliers, won't be a second. Pliers. Yep. So all we're doing is just going to get the cross pin in. Nothing complicated about this. We're just looking to get that central. I need some new pliers. Are a bit messed up on this, to be honest. Seen better days. And there we go, just like that. You should have really, really smooth action, which we do, which is perfect. We then need to just repeat the same process. On the other side. So again, coat the O-ring. Get it in the recess. Do the out drive. Put a bit much on there, so we'll save a bit. Push it through. Make sure it's seated properly. And then we can add the washer. Yep, nice and easy on that. Add spin. I really do need some new pliers. And there we go. Get it centralized. And again, should feel really lovely and smooth with that grease, really high quality grease. Now the next stage, what I like to do first is I do like to put some oil in the bottom before I start putting any of the gears in. I like to make sure there's always a little bit of oil behind the gears. Again, it's just keeping everything lubricated. And I know the oil will eventually find its own way and it will go to where it wants to go. But certainly initially, I like to make sure we've got oil behind the gears and we haven't got everything dry, so to speak. So let's get some oil. So we're going to go with some 15k for this build. It's going to be 15k and 4 gears. That is the preference for myself. Is it a new bottle? It's a new bottle. Treating myself there. So get a bit of oil in. What's up in there? I've never seen that before. Shocking. Nice pour. Okay. So yeah, drop a bit in. You don't need to go crazy. We're just wanting a little bit of oil in there. Probably pull the bubbles out now as well. It's plugged in, it's ready to go. May as well use the pump. Get the air bubbles out. Okay, just give that a minute. Let the air start to come out. What we'll do in the meantime is we'll start to build up. Give the gears ready to go in, and obviously the So the gasket as well, we'll get the gasket on the top half of the case. So it's ready to go and ready to rock and roll. So crossbin or crossbins. There is steel variants of those that you can use. If you are going to run a 2-gear, make sure that you run one of the steel halves. Otherwise, yeah, you'll end up with a bit of a mess inside of your diff. The plastic's absolutely fine to run as a 4-gear setup. But if you're wanting to do 2-gear, I really do recommend picking up one of the steel halves to run, and you won't have any problems. Okay, slot the gears together. No need for these 2 additional shims that they include in the packet. Follow the manual. The shimming is on the money. Always has been for myself anyway. No need to shim it any further with those other shims. Gasket, I also leave the gasket dry. I'll let it do its job. I'll let it be there to soak up any oil that's wanting to leak out in excess. I know some people like to coat it, whether it's black grease to create a better seal, but I feel that the case is sealed really, really nicely anyway. You don't really need to, provide any extra additional sort of seal, if you like. So what we'll do is pop that off. And we'll put the gear in, maybe we'll put the main gear in. Make sure that's just centralized. Which it is. And then again, got the main gear in. I'm going to then add the oil. Yeah, just trying to work all the oil into all the different corners. Nothing complicated, just take time. Quite thick oil as well at 15k. Just work it in. Probably do for the second. And then we will drop the gear setting. So we'll drop that in. Give it a little bit of a wiggle, get it in all the areas, and again, just you can just use my finger then to just push any oil down the back. And what we'll do is we'll put this back in the vac and get rid of the air bubbles, and we'll probably find that the oil level will be a bit lower after all the air has finally escaped. Oh, finally escaped us. And we'll leave that for a few minutes. Let's do its job and see hard to probably show on camera, but just about see the air bubbles are all rising to the top, so it's doing its job. So I'll put that there. So I think what I'll do while I'm waiting for put the grease away now, we're not going to need that. While we wait for the air to come out, put the oil there, we will make a start on some. I might put the rear anti-roll bar on. I've got that right at the side of me. So I think we'll make a start on that. So, slightly different to a kit is what I'm going to run here. So I'll show you it. So you may or may not have seen this. Quite a few Yokomo users have been running this sort of style of roll bar now for a while. And essentially it's a lower center of gravity roll bar. So it's a kit roll bar, and then it's been bent around. And what that enables us to do is we can mount the roll bar straight to the D block when we don't have to run the rear brace. I'm going to be running a tower where we're connecting the camber link straight to the rear tower. So first of all, we save weight, so we're not having to run the rear brace, etc. An alloy camber link mount. The other benefit to the lower roll bar mount is because it sits under the drive shafts, it makes it easier for maintenance. You can get your gear diff in and out much easier and faster. And yeah, really, really nice feel for a mounting position. So to achieve this, that is the stock roll bar holder mount, whatever you want to call it. And then I've got like a little carbon piece. So Slough Electric model car spares. At one point we're selling these. I think it's a TWR product, I think it is. And yeah, it's nothing fancy, but it's just a flat piece of carbon that you can sandwich your roll bar in between the standard mount. So let's get that on there. We're going to put a little bit of thread lock on these because we're going into the D block. There we go, and that fits like so. You see there, mounted really nice and low. That will sit underneath the drive shafts. I'm just going to get a couple of little grub screws, set screws to hold it in place so it's not wobbling around. 12 and 13. Where is number 12? Ah, there we go. 12 and 13. Perfect. Again, why didn't do that? Select. So we'll need those when it comes to doing the front roll bar mounts. Okay, let's have a look what we've got in here. So we'll take that, we'll need that one. A bit looser. So yeah, again, when you're just setting your roll bars, you just want it to hold the roll bar in place so you've not got lots of side to side movement, but again, your roll bar is nice and free, so you're not affecting its action. So yeah, just a little bit of fine tuning and tweaking just to make sure that you get the perfect spot. It's that one. So to go along with the roll bar mount, as you can see there, put it back. What I like to now use, and at one stage I was doing a lot of cutting and shutting on normal Yokomo roll bar mounts, but now the B7 is released, you can use some little B7 drop links, so no longer having to cut up links, potentially super gluing your fingers together. That was yeah, not the funnest times in the world when we were cutting those up. We also went through a stage where there was some 3D printed ones. Not ideal, didn't really stand up, if I'm honest, to the durability test. But these obviously are a production part that Associated's put out, and they are the perfect height. So yeah, make your life a lot easier. Look at the screw, the cap screws. Bag 10. Oh. Ah, nice, didn't know that now. Might have to have a look. Pains me to put a associate part on the car, to be honest, but these were the parts that made the most sense at the time. Have you got your car ready for tomorrow? Gluing tyres, everybody's favourite job. Not. Yeah, and snipping mezzo fronts, yeah, wonderful. Although to be fair, with these new bad boys, I'd probably quite enjoy it. Again, just looking, just trying to see that the roll bars are equal. Just fine tuning that a little bit. One's just coming up a little bit earlier than the other one. So again, when you're doing your roll bars, you can just play with the bite points. If you've got one what's lifting slightly, I think I've just sorted mine to be fair, but if you've got a roll bar that's lifting just a fraction earlier than the other, adjusting one side and you should be able to correct it. So just a tiny bit of readjustment on those. But yeah, we are looking otherwise pretty good. I think you can drive yourself insane with this sometimes. You can go backwards and forwards so many times trying to get it perfect. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do for me. Okay, how's this diff doing? It's not too bad. So we have now got our rear roll bar on there. So what I think we'll do now, I've got some alloy rear hubs all ready to go on. I like running these on carpet, a little bit of extra unsprung weight. I think it helps to settle the car personally. It's a running theme in the car is actually running obviously additional weight. You can see that with the steel low suspension mount, under servo weight, ESC weight. So yeah, I always think running that little bit of extra weight on carpet helps. Also, a little bit of added durability as well. Stiffer. Obviously, aluminium's stiffer than kit plastic. So again, when you talk about flex characteristics and things like that, you can have a bit of a more responsive car. So did I leave that back out? No, let's see hooks. Okay, left. So we're going to go medium wheelbase on the rear hubs. So we're long on the inside. We're going to go medium on the hubs. Obviously, if we really need to, we can go long then on the hubs as an extra option if needed for an even longer wheelbase. But this is a setup that I settled on last year. I should say beginning of this year. Just right. Nice fit. Time do you need to set off in the morning, Neil? Is it going to be, well, I guess whatever time, it's not going to be the most pleasant for you, but is it crazy or not? Yeah, not too bad. It's not the good old 5:15, is it? Middle of the night. No, you're still awake in the middle of the night, mate. That's the problem. Lovely. So we now have some nice shiny rear hubs on as well. Yeah, cool. Makes sense for the gazebo. I'm sure there'll always be enough people that want to sit under it with us. I think the diff is almost there. What we will do is, I think we'll put the front seat hooks on while we're waiting. So again, following the trend that we've had throughout the car. More graphite parts. So these are the graphite C-hubs. These are a nice part. And what I do like, I think I mentioned earlier that I've started marking with like a silver Sharpie to indicate that it's a graphite part, so you're not having to, you know, test for strength, etc. These actually have a little G on the mold. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but actually a little G under the orientation, so that's a right, and it's got G for graphite. Why we can't have that on all the parts and make my life easy, but there we go. But yeah, must have a different molding. Just flush cut those off the parts tree. Nice clean cups with those nice new Nipex pliers. Snips, sorry, not pliers. Then we are going to go for a 5-degree caster insert. Relatively clean. Just tidy that up a little bit. Just a tiny little bit of flashing. So it's 5 degrees, a little nipple up as we like to call it. So we're increased in our total caster. They fit nice and snug and lovely. We will carry on the trend with the Sharpie. Very nice little G coloured in there. I keep forgetting that we've got these little travel stops that we can use now, to be honest, with the screws. Never really felt the need of just limiting your lock. Right. We will need those. There we go. Bearings. Sweet. More graphite for the steering blocks. Put them there for the axles. There we go. One. Two. Got those. Right, we have actually got them there. Yeah, perfect. One. How many's booked in for tomorrow, Neil? Quite a decent turnout. $72. Yeah, not bad for four-wheel drive, that. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good numbers. $13 doing the non-regional. Right, okay. $103 for Sunday. Oh my god. Whoa. Yeah, yippee. Yes. If the weather's anything like today, where we've had a little bit of sun as well, the shed will be boiling. Absolutely boiling. Yeah, they're okay. Not bad at all. We were wide, weren't we? Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Is he allowed to do that? So is he allowed to run the Saturday and then the Sunday? Not that it bothers me. It'll change, but yeah, I guess. Well, you say that, but you're not allowed to practice the week before, are you? Track gets closed off. Again, not that it bothers me. It's been open all week. Shouldn't be. I'm sure that's still a rule. Okay. Yeah, I understand the club might want to get funds in, but I'm sure the rule book says differently. Well, not the national rule book. I mean, are we saying we don't have to adhere to that then? Yeah, I'm not going to go at you. Just seems odd to me. I think everybody else is under the impression it's shut a week before, or most people would be anyway. It's always been that way, hasn't it? You moron, Chris. Did all the other clubs close? Did all the Durham and Name and were they all closed the week before? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I'm not bothered, but it just seems a bit odd. I think everybody's generally under the same impression that you close for a week, don't you? No racing weekend before, and you just have it. Nobody goes during the week, but not a problem. Right, so that's in there. That's in there. Some screws for them. What do we need? 12 and 14 mil. Right, okay. 14. 12. 12. That's 114. What's that one more? All right. Okay, that's that side. Why have I not got another 14 mil? Odd. come back to that. No idea why we haven't got that screw. Must have one somewhere. Right, let's do the diff. Let's get the diff in. Perfect. So what I like to do with the diff, you can see that I've managed to get oil all the way down the back of the gears, which is good. So you can bit of lubrication everywhere behind the gears. It was actually pretty much a good amount of oil that I put in last time, so I just like to put a little bit again at the back. Just don't like it to be dry around the back. I know oil will make its way around, but we line it all up. Button this diff up. Tighten it up nice and equal. Don't want to warp the gear case. Two, so I'm just putting the screws in and going the opposite sides, and before fully cranking it down, I'll go any crisscross and ensure it's tightened down nice and even. It is good practice as well for everybody when you've got a fresh diff, so brand new internal gears, to once you've done your first meeting to change your oil. You'll find there'll be some really small like fines, if you like, or bits from your gears lapping in. So you want to change your oil straight away after your first meeting, and your diff will be then bedded in. So give it a good clean out and fresh oil, but that is perfect. Is that lovely? Right, so then got the bearings. So I'm going to be running this in diff height number 3, the highest setting, because we will be running really low ride heights, around 12-13 mil. So again, try to keep the drive shafts as level as possible. by having that number 3 diff on it. It's a shame. So that's what we right, okay. So we'll test the kit shimming. So you do get a 0.1, but I think it's 0.15 shim included. We'll see what that feels like left to right when it's in the gearbox. Put that in. Get the cap. To be fair, yeah, that feels absolutely spot on. Tiny little bit, but not excessive, which is what we want. Spins nice and free. Wonderful. Wonderful. Right, let's get some screws. So with the gearbox cap, just want to go a little bit steady, especially on these back 2 screws, the 8mm screws. Yeah, don't be swinging off them. Just nip it up. But it can strip out on the casing there if you're a little bit ham-fisted. So yeah, just take a little bit of care. Turn. So we can get those in. Stars off, and then we'll get the 8s. That one. Yep. I'm just going to start the threads off on the gear case, and then I'm going to open it back up, and we're going to put some grease in just to keep it nicely lubricated. So they start off. So in terms of gearbox grease, you don't want to go too mental applying this. But this is the grease that I've used. I've been using the it's now Speedworks, but I've had this for quite a while. It's pretty good stuff. Doesn't fling off. You don't need to be using tons of it. If you apply too much, what's likely to happen is it'll always find a corner in your gearbox, and it'll all just clog into that corner. So what you need to aim to try and do here is essentially apply the thinnest layer you can possible that'll coat the gear diff, the idler, and also the top shaft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this back up. So we started those threads off. And I'm going to apply just a really small amount of grease, and then I'm going to spin it round, turn the diff in the gearbox case, probably quite a few times, really get it to work its way all the way around, so around the idler, around the top shaft, and then I will be looking to see if there's any dry spots. I'm just going to push the cap in so it's got the right pressure applied. If I push that, let's spin it round, work it round, work the grease round, and then we'll have a little look. So we need a little bit more. But again, doing this method, you're not going to get into a position where you're applying too much and you've got grease all the way around your gearbox. And trust me, if that happens, you won't be happy with yourself when you come to open your full case. You'll just find it'll be sat all in the corners, and yeah, it won't be very nice to clean up. So yeah, as little grease as possible, but just to make sure you've got that thin coat all the way around the gears. And that is nearly there, just a tiny little bit more. Once we've done this, I'll try and show you. It'll probably be quite difficult on camera to pick up, but we'll give it a go to show you. But it feels really, really nice and smooth, which is great. That's what we're aiming for. Okay, right, you probably should be able to see this. I think it should just have a little bit of maybe a shiny glint. You just see, nice and shiny, just got a little bit of grease all the way around, just to keep things lubricated, not crazy amounts, and that should stay in place because of the nature of what the grease is. Okay, so we'll button that up. Again, hand tighten the gearbox ones. I think these new graphite gearbox cases probably will be able to take the electric driver when the threads are bedded in, but even then I probably wouldn't drive them in all the way because they're a little bit more brittle than a lot of the other threads on the car. So that's snug. So that's that. And there we go. One really, really smooth and nice gearbox. Okay. So we're starting to get a car together now. Getting there. Gearbox done. So what we've got left on the rear end, so we've got drive shafts to go in and rear shock tower, really, on the back. On the front, we've got a shock tower to go on, roll bar links. We'll put the front shock tower on, and I'll show you everybody the front shock tower that we're using. Right, okay, so your standard kit shock tower comes as so you've got 3 mounting positions, and this is the -3 shock tower. So it's the lower, shock tower that you get with the SO1 and the SO2, so slightly lower than the other. Now, I like to run this. So this is a wheel speed tower. It's a wheel speed front shock tower. I'll show you the difference. Put them side by side. So the actual mounting holes, so the inner and the outer, are exactly the same on the wheel speed tower, but what you have is you've got some holes in the middle. So it's got all of the 3 original holes and then additional ones in between. So you've got a little bit more fine tuning that you can do in your car. You don't have to go quite as far, because quite a major adjustment going from an outer to the middle. So you can go a little bit more finely tuned with this one. It's also got a very nice chamfered edge. I think it looks quite cool as well, to be fair. They've made it a little bit more of a V shape. Yeah, quite a cool looking tower. So let's put that on. So I'm actually going to be starting setup wise on the outer hole on the shock tower. I will probably play with this a little bit, because I didn't actually have the wheel speed tower last indoor season, so I'll probably try the in-between hole. So I'll probably maybe try in one hole at one of the meetings and see what that feels like. Again, just tinkering, playing, fine-tuning the setup. But having those extra little tuning options are not going to hurt. Not going to hurt at all. It's good quality carbon. I've been running one on my Astro car. I'll put this screw in and I can show you it. I can show you it in action, actually. Show you it mounted up with the shocks, etc. These graphite holes are stiff. Solid plastic with this new graphite bulkhead. Which is good. Hopefully means had one of the bulkheads probably crack or go right around the corner there, just where the shock tower mounts. So again, if there's a little bit of extra durability on top of performance, should be a good part to have in the bag. Okay, So that is your front shock tower. Pretty cool looking. And again, I can show you it actually on my dry car that I'll be running at the regional on Sunday. So yep, so wheel speed tower there, wheel speed springs. We've also got you can see the rear tower as well on there again. So camber links mounted directly to the shock tower. And actually on the rear tower as well, you've got an extra position for your rear wing. So a few extra tuning options as well on the rear wing over the standard kit. Right, okay. So I think we'll look to finish this front end off. So we've got the axles. I need to get some shims for the axles. So one of the features of the SO2 was these newly designed aluminium axles. And what they've done is they've given you the ability to be able to run a 4.5mm hex, as it's written on there, or 5mm. And the way you can tune this is with this silver shim. So the shim is 0.5mm. If you put it like that and then slide it into your steering hubs and put the screw in the back, that will be 5mm track width or hex. That's we're used to doing it. Or your other alternative is take the shim off, slide it in, and then the shim goes on the inside where you screw and tighten everything up, and you can run 4.5mm, so a little bit more narrow. I think it's quite a nice little feature. The other hexes are easier to swap on and off once you had the parts, but I think if you're new to the platform, not having to buy the extra parts is probably a little bit of a plus. So there's two ways to look at that one. I quite like them. I think they're a pretty neat feature, to be fair. They also redesigned the steering hub carriers to accommodate being able to do a narrow or wide offset. And the reason they've got a narrow and a wide offset option is because in Japan there was running a lot of four-wheel drive tires on the two-wheel drive front. So to be able to accommodate that, they had to give you the option for a different offset to fit in the box, or to fit to the rules and regs that they're running over in Japan. So that's the reason for the redesign on the steering blocks, steering carriers. You then also got a slight redesign on the plates, on the carbon plates. Previously, it's just been a one single hole option on the steering plates with, 3 options. So you had a notch 1, a notch 2, and a notch 3. Notch 3 was the least aggressive, 1 was the most aggressive. So you had to swap the plates each time. What you've got here is you've got 2 Ackerman holes that you can play with. So you can either have a backwards hole or a more forwards hole. So again, you can tune your steering Ackerman without having to change the plates. So you've got 2 options there. Obviously, you can change your Ackerman also on your rack as well by adding or removing washers. So lots and lots of tuning options for Ackerman straight in the kit without having to buy additional parts. So yeah, I quite like them. I've generally ran the backwards hole so far. Most to tune your steering Ackerman kits, and to be fair, like you had to do on our kit previously. So let's get a washer and a screw, secure these axles on the front, and that then is the front almost complete. So I think for the front we just then need to do the anti-roll bar. I need a 14mm screw for this C-hub here. What washer do we need? Ah, 5 by 0.5. So this is where this pack comes in handy. One of these. So these two here are what you get in the kit, which should get you close, and we'll try. But if not, you can add spacers or for a thicker spacer just to take up any play that you might have left to right on the axle. So let's get that folded up. Packing number 4. Again, these are some of the few screws that I don't use titanium on. I'll go with a good old steel on this. You can apply your thread lock, and again, you can really get your driver in if you need to get out, if it slightly rounds, etc. Try and center the shim. May just try a slightly thicker washer on that. Might just try the 0.1. Still a tiny little bit of play there, so we'll just see if the 0.1 feels too tight or whether we have to stick with a 0.05. So again, with your shimming, just take your time. It's a little bit of trial and error, sadly. There's always little tolerances from machining and manufacturing. So just take your time, shim it up as required. You don't want it to be too tight there as well on the wheel. You do want a little bit of play, just a little bit. Otherwise, you will be going through your wheel bearings quite quick. Yeah, at the same time, we don't want excessive amounts. A little bit better. I think we could go one again. We might try the bigger one. Go one further. So try 0.2 now. So try to 0.05, try to 0.1. We will try 0.2. Wouldn't that feel better? Feels more like what we would want. Your other part to try is you can we could go a tiny bit more. There we go. That's better. So what we will do on the other side is we will start with that same setting. Chances are they'll come off the same production line. Yeah, feel nice and smooth though, which is the main thing. Slide that in. So take 0.2 and 0.1. Get another screw. There we go. We'll just tighten that up against the wheel. See which is what we are after. Beautiful. Right, yeah, front end really starting to take shape now. So we've got C-hubs are all in place, steering's all in place, shock towers there. So we need to do the standoffs for the shock towers, front anti-roll bar mounts, and then all we're missing is the camber links. And we've got a full front end completed, which is nice. And for the back, we've got drive shafts, rear shock tower. So I think we'll do the front camber links, front anti-roll bar mounts, I think. Get those on. Need that later on. Put that in there. Right, here we go. Front anti-roll bars. Let's get these done. The set screws we've got in here. These ones. Slightly smaller ones, the 8mm ones. So you get 8s for the front, 12 for the rears. Break them off. 2, 3. Thread the set screw into the rod end, and what I like to do is I just get the verniers, because they're 8mm, these are going to get flushed together, so they're going to be, we want to be about 4mm, so take it off slightly. And both sides have got equal amount of thread, so I should say nice and secure. We then mount the link. Now these, the little these little balls, I would highly recommend, if you don't have any spare, to pick a packet of these up, because I know I've done it twice where I've had a ball go flying and ping off, and they're so small it's hard to find them. So yeah, a spare packet of those is not a bad thing at all, and just squash it in. But yeah, I've had one or two ping off when I've been building them. They are super small. So yeah, nice and free moving. Little drop link. And we do the same for the other side. Yep. Press it in. And the same for the collar. Nice and easy. Put them to one side because we've already got some rears in place. So set screws, cut out. Yeah, they're in there, back 10. Two of those long thin cap screws. Nip it up, don't need to go crazy tightening those. And then for actually setting the front, I always like to for the setting of it. So let's put it in. I like to set it so the wire is flush with the end of the drop link, and then that way it's easily repeatable. Every time you get this exact same action, regardless of the wire. It should be a way to get the same engagement every time. Inside. And the second side. So I'll show you that. So we've got row bar links now on, and they're engaging equal, which is what you want. So what should we do now? Finish the front. I'll put the screws on for the stand off. 2, which is bag 8. So again, with the stand, with the screws that are going to hold the shock standoffs, that again is one of the few areas that I don't run titanium screws. It takes quite a lot of impact as that area, obviously, with the shock tower digging in on crashes, and yeah, the titanium will bend a lot easier than what the steel screws will. So it's an area that I'd probably swerve in terms of putting the titanium ones on. By all means, you can do it. I've ran them, but they do just bend. So just be prepared that at some stage, no doubt, you'd end up having to replace and swap them out. So for me, I'm just of the opinion now to just run the good old steel ones. And then in terms of shock standoffs, highly recommend these. Now the aluminium ones, these are really, really nice for 2 reasons. With the standard plastic standoffs, you need to run an M3 nut behind it. But these lovely standoffs, they're, to put it bluntly, simplifies it, and they don't move as much. They are solid pieces. So what I do is just spin them on with your fingers, and I have a little rubber dog wrench. So one of these, just a multi-adjustable wrench, all the different size nuts that it can do. So this one can do 5.5, 7, 8, 5, 4, and 3.2. So for this, it's the thread. So all you need to do is close the camera, but essentially you just slide your wrench in and just snug it up. As easy as that. No need for thread lock. Handy little tool that as well. Handy for taking off various different things. Super cheap as well. I think it's only like £5. So turnbuckles and shocks aside, that's the front of the car completed. So yeah, starting to look like a car. You see all the lovely graphite parts, little grey tinge to all the parts, racing performer screws, all the little options and extras that we've got in there. Really, really nice kit, really nice front end there that we've put together. Okay, so Right, okay. We want how many mil? 1 mil. And they are 1 mil. So, with running the S3 arms and the wheel speed D block to get down to 0 degrees rear toe, I need to run 66.5mm bones. So I've actually got some drive shafts that I use purely just for indoors. So I'm going to put those straight in actually in a minute. Just putting in the bearings for the rear hubs, crush tube. Keep the spacers as well because we'll need the spacers. There we go. Like so, and then we've got those forts. So if I get my so then slide the shims on, a couple of shims. Again, you can see Hold that up to the camera. It'll focus. And the only reason I'm running those is because of the S3 arms and the wheel speed D-block. If you are running the kit D-block, kit arms, you don't need to worry yourself about any of this. And I've just realised on the back, I've actually put the roll bar links on the wrong way around. Silly me. There we go, all fixed. As soon as we got the drive shafts in, I could see that I made a mistake. I forgot the orientation of these custom little roll bar drop links that we've got made up. But yeah, we should be fine now. Try again. There we go, that's better. Yep, so they are running absolutely perfect. I'm not catching the roll bar links now. Got in position properly. So I'm just going to get a sub 6mm hexes because that's what I run. A nice wide track width on the rear of the car. So I should hopefully have some signals in here in the bounce box. And we do. Three, five. Come on, where's your friend? There should be one more somewhere. 5. How have we only got one? That's all right. Okay, so we'll put one on for the time being. Must have a pair on a car. That's the only thing I can think. Oh, one has escaped somewhere, so we'll put that 6mm on. And there. Your kit comes with 4.3s because obviously you've got your longer L5 arms. But again, because we're S3, we're wanting to widen it up anyway, but then we've gone a step further by running the 6mm for the extra track width. What we will do, these have been cleaned of these drive shafts, but they're dry. We'll put a little bit of this inside just to keep it lubricated. But again, they have been cleaned. I did it the other week in preparation for getting ready for the carpet. What I like to do is let's put a little bit, quite a bit in, run it, let it lubricate round to all the areas in the joint and the CVD, and then I just like to wipe off a little bit of excess. You don't want too much in there because obviously it's going to attract fibres and dirt into that area, which isn't ideal. So yeah, we just want to make sure that we've just wiped off the excess. Yep, so that's really nice and smooth, well lubricated, and yeah, again, will run really, really nicely for us. The other thing that I do like to do is on the actual pins themselves. So the actual drive pin there. I like to put a little bit of grease on those that are going to sit into the out drives, because obviously they're going to slide backwards and forwards in the out drive. They're obviously connecting with the out drive, so it's metal on metal. So I do just like to put a tiny little bit of grease on there. Again, don't want to go too crazy because it's an area that will attract carpet fights and obviously dirt. I like to use this. So this is the grease that I use there. So it's a little bit of Axon joint grease. Really like the Axon products. High quality greases. Really nice to work with. And yeah, we're just going to put a little bit of this stuff. Lasts a long time. You're not using huge amounts of it when you're applying it. And again, I just like to put just a little bit on the drive pin. It's going to have that, obviously, that constant engagement with the out drive. That metal on metal surface should hopefully just help to minimize, sorry, the wear that you're going to get into your out drive. Again, just wipe off a little bit of excess if there is. Again, just a little bit of grease and lubrication for going up and down it to moving side to side in the out drive. And again, just smooths everything out. So I think that is probably going to be it from me tonight, guys. I've been done a couple of hours, made some good progress. I'm not far off now. Need to find another 6mm hex. I've no idea where that other one, where its friend's gone. But yeah, get that other 6mm hex. Shock tower to go on. And really, just got the job of shocks and turnbuckles, and we've got a rolling chassis. So yeah, take care everyone. I'll see you again at some point, no doubt.